Unfinished script. Why I hate Diamond Tiara. Burn. Unfinished script. CMC headcanons. Burn. Goodbye, old friends.
I thought that diamonds were hard, though I feel I could break.
This episode, it was like everything wrong with Magical Mystery Cure and Equestria Girls 1, only done in a way that works. Not even joking. We have a popularity contest where it should be impossible for the villain to win, because everyone knows that she is the most despicable being around, a somewhat rushed plot told through a musical episode, the fulfillment of a heroine's destiny, and a last-minute redemption for an antagonist, so why does it work here? Well, first of all, I don't think that any song is unnecessary. I think that Morning in Ponyville and I've Got to Find a Way feel a little bit out of place in our Twilicon episode, especially the latter one as it has less of the musical numbers in the voiceover. Both songs are also disconnected to the plot and only tell us how Twilight feels without any plot progression. You could cut them out of this episode and add them to another when Twilight has similar emotions. You could use Morning in Ponyville in pretty much every episode for Celestia's sake. FYI, I actually liked Magical Mystery Cure. However, in Crusaders of the Lost Mark, every song is a real narrative tool to further the plot and gives more characterization than I'm happy and I'm sad. The fact that they all sound pretty good certainly helps as well. The student president selection is also a pretty nice setup. It was quite helpful to make the synopsis vague. I read them before this episode aired and expected something completely different. It was nice to see Pipsqueak again in a likable way. I wasn't exactly thrilled of his appearance in Twilight Tide, and I'm glad he was the one to run for president. In a usual CMC episode, one or all of them would have been candidates, and it would have been your stock election episode we have seen in pretty much every cartoon ever. This way it keeps the dynamic more interesting, as it is not the usual CMC versus Diamond Tiara situation. Okay, to a certain degree it is, but it makes it different enough for me. Pipsqueak's election also mirrors Twilight's election in Equestria Girls to a certain degree. Sure, prom queen and student president aren't exactly the same thing, but in the end it's all about popularity. Pipsqueak is like Twilight's a new kid. After all, he only moved to Ponyville a year ago. However, unlike Twilight, he is around long enough that ponies at least know him. And due to his short stature, the fact that he doesn't have a cutie mark yet, he's still the perfect candidate for an underdog story. Strangely, the fact that he has no cutie mark is never acknowledged by any pony.
It's bad enough you lost to that transplant from Trottingham, but imagine if you lost to one of those blank flanks.
You do realize that the brown spot on his flank is no cutie mark, right? If it is, his talent must be really dumb. Well, like Twilight, he wins the crowd over with the help of a song by his friends, but he also directly interacts with the crowd and gives reasons to vote him other than, hey, my song is catchy. He would probably be a better politician than our Princess of Friendship here. The same is also true for Diamond Tiara, who mirrors Sunset in this case. Tell me, why is Sunset popular in Equestria Girls 1? Everyone at Canterlot High apparently hates her guts or fears her for some reason. How can she back up her popularity? She only hangs out with Snip and Snells, and has even less interaction with the student buddies than Twilight. I see no reason why anyone would vote for her, even if she embarrasses her opponents, especially since everyone is aware of the fact that she is the one behind it. Diamond Tiara is at least a rich kid and her parents have a lot of influence, so it is at least understandable why ponies want to be on good terms with her. We also see her interacting with the student body on multiple occasions, impressing them with her wealth, and she actually tries to bribe and blackmail others to do her bidding in this very episode. She also points out that there's no way that Pip can keep his promises, which turns out to be true. What I'm saying is, even in this episode, Diamond Tiara is a better villain than Sunset. FYI, I actually liked Equestria Girls and after Rainbow Rocks I adore Sunset, but I cannot ignore the numerous flaws. The Vote is also a pretty good song, and while it might not be as catchy as the Cafeteria song, it works better overall. All the Cafeteria song basically does is saying we are all friends and we can make Twilight win. Any reasons why? She's a nice girl. Okay. Still likes the song though. The vote, however, feels much more like a debate as the CMC and Diamond Tiara try to undermine each other. It also integrates the other ponies and it's not just, hey, she can sing, let's vote her. No, it's about who can best the other in a battle of words. This also gives way to show off way more character and makes it somewhat better as a narrative device. The way Diamond Tiara behaves the whole song, showing off all her bad qualities, makes her defeat this more satisfying, and I like Silver Soon's burn probably more than I should. But then came the unexpected twist. This episode redeems Diamond Tiara in pretty much every way. I expected many things this season, but not this. As it turns out, all her bad behavior can be blamed on her mother. Meh, 9 out of 10 times a cartoon tries to redeem the spoiled brat, it's her parents' fault. I actually ruled out this possibility after we met with Rich for the first time, as he seems to be a pretty decent fella. But now we can hate spoiled Rich in unity. And while I can see why people might call Diamond Tiara's redemption rushed, I think they pulled it off really well. Her song, The Pony I Want to Be, is magnificent. It really shows that she just doesn't know what to do, and you can really see her break in the song, not to mention that she was bested by the CMC several times in the past, and her mother doesn't seem to like the idea of her doctor being defeated, so it's not unreasonable that the pressure made those times far more crushing than they appeared on screen. Why do I get the feeling that we see far more Diamond Tiara fanfics in the future? Anyway, over a couple of minutes the whole brownie community suddenly was able to sympathize with her, after being the single most hated character in the show with no redeeming qualities for 5 years. And then she goes all out tsundere when the Crusaders offer to cheer her up.
Well, thanks to you all, I don't have any important class president business to attend to or anything. So I might as well.
It's not like I think she's adorable or anything, Barker. And I have to admit, I was really surprised to hear her actually handing out compliments in the clubhouse. I expected something like this later on in this episode at best. However, combined with the way she slips into her old behavior right after that, really highlights the inner conflict.
Were you trying to get your cutie mark in spying? Is that on your little chart?
No, they already tried this one out in Ponyville Confidential. On your behalf, remember? But did you notice how Diamond Tiara almost starts crying when Apple Bloom tries to explain everything to her, and the fact that she needs another musical number, that is excellent by the way, to actually pull off her heel face turn and still had doubts to pull it off until a confrontation with her mother?
That's enough, Diamond Tiara. Step away from those blank flanks.
These are the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and they are my friends. You need to stop calling them such mean and hurtful names.
Those words still sound strange coming from her, but it does not make them any less heartwarming. Not only that, she actually asked her father to give money to repair and improve the playground instead of decorating it with a statue of herself. Okay, the spoiled brat is still there as she knows that her father will do so, no questions asked, but that's okay. And then she reveals what talent her cutie mark represents. She's a born leader, but still manages to show humility and kindness. She knows how to put the strength of every pony, literally, to best use. She gives Twilight a run for her money when it comes to organizing things. Scratch that, she actually makes Princess Twilight work for her money. The perhaps best thing about her redemption is probably how drastic it is. Unlike pretty much every other redeemed character to date, she is a character that shows up on a regular basis. In any other show with a character like this, there's this trope called status quo is God. Even if they make a redemption episode like this, the brat will not change too much as they still need to play their role as jerk and only show the nice side on occasion, if at all. Crusaders of the Lost Mark, however, takes this trope and kills it with diabetes. The change in Diamond Tiara's personality is so drastic that no episode after this one can ignore it, and I don't think that it was rushed at all. I think there was a really good build up in this episode as the inner conflict was visible all the way through. It might be the best redemption the show pulled off so far. All others basically happened in an instant, either through magic or one line that actually moved something inside of them. This god is the exception, as his redemption in Keep Calm and Flutter On, while well-handed, still felt a little bit rushed, but also wasn't complete onto Twilight's kingdom. And if Diamond Tiara's redemption kills the status quo as god trope with diabetes, the Cutie Mark Crusaders earning their marks probably kills it 3 times over again. And there was much rejoice. After watching Bloom and Gloom, I was pretty sure that they won't get them this season, and I certainly didn't expect it to happen on an episode that focuses on Diamond Tiara. It's also a beautiful bookend. They became friends on the day of Diamond Tiara's quinceanera and decided to look for their talents together, and realized it by helping Diamond Tiara, followed by their own quinceanera, not to mention the crowning moment of heartwarming that comes with it.
Get ready for the biggest quinceanera celebration!
Oh, Sugar Cube, if Mom and Dad were here, they'd be so proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Applejack.
Now go on and party with your pals.
I'm so proud of you, little buddy. You taught me a thing or two. You've inspired every pony around you, and you've inspired me too. You've made your mark, done Equestria so proud. You've made your mark, and we're here to sing it loud for the ultimate reward of your cutie mark.
The thing with AJ, Big Max and Apple Bloom's parents is now like canon, and Rainbow Dash with Scootaloo is just cute. The whole scene is just beautiful and it does not end there, but with a look back to their previous exploits and a recreation of that scene in the opening. And I love how Celestia shows it to Luna like she wants to say, I think this was meant for you. Everything was just perfect. It felt like a grande finale for the series if those three were the main characters. The only thing that bugs me a little is the fact that I expected each one of them to get an individual episode or a single one that focused completely on the Cutie Mark Crusaders getting their marks. However, it fits quite well considering the nature of a Cutie Mark, as they tend to appear when you're not expected and that they focus several episodes on the act of finding one. Not to mention that they didn't went the obvious way of giving them the talents that were teased several times in the show. They are still incorporated in their marks, but the mere fact that it's not Applebloom is good at building stuff and alchemy, Scootaloo is good with her scooter, and Sweetie Belle is a brilliant singer, but those three excel in helping others realizing their talent, like they did in Appaloosa's Most Wanted, and here with Diamond Tiara is an intriguing twist. FYI, I don't like Appaloosa's Most Wanted at all. So, let's wrap things up. This was probably the most surprising episode of the entire series. I thought Amending Fences was surprising, but this one took the cake. Not only does it the impossible task of redeeming Diamond Tiara, it also concludes the series-long story arc of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. I cannot wait to see where they are heading now, and will they stick with their name? If you were to ask me, Cutie Mark Counselors has a pretty nice ring to it too. This episode was a real game changer and the music was just excellent, and I didn't even talk about the visual presentation of this episode. I like Magical Mystery Cure a lot, but Crusaders of the Lost Mark was superior in every possible way. There are only a few pieces of media that make me go wow all the way through, and this episode is certainly among them. I'm not sure if I would call this my favorite episode of My Little Pony so far, but it is a strong contender. I could praise this episode for hours, but what about you? Did you like this episode? Anything that bothered you? What do you think about Diamond Tiara's redemption? Let me know in the comments. I am Tricky Fox. Thanks for watching.